Well, coming up, we debate the all NBL teams, and Tommy Greer talks about the Phoenix Big Four.
Is Dwight Howard coming to the NBL? Is it fact or fluff?
Fluff. And I talked to Derek Rucker, and we talk about the big game, Perth versus Sydney. Who wins that one? And the in-season NBA tournament, is it a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Let's go.
This is the Basketball Show with Shane the Hammer Heel. What they gonna say next?
Well, the NBL has followed in the NBA's footsteps and introduced all NBL teams based on a positionless format. What do you think?
You know what I think. That's why you're grinning. You like it and I don't like it. How's it positionless? So if we come up with 5 guards, if 5 guards make that team, you're happy?
I don't think. I think it's almost like it's an unwritten rule, and I know
How
what
can
you're...
it be you're changing the rules now.
5-point guards will not make the team. However, I do think
But if they're the best 5 players in the league, then you're saying, okay, that's fine, I'm happy with this.
If they are outright the best 5 players in the league, I think that they deserve to be named in that team rather than them miss out just from a position quota. Yes.
See, I think it would have been a better move to be able to be more flexible with the positions. Like, you don't have to have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or 5. You know, as long as you roughly in that vicinity, and I don't care if...
I think you'll find that's what will happen.
Yeah, but that's not what the rule is. I'm only talking about... When we talk about basketball being a positionless game right now, we don't have 5-point guards playing at the same time.
No, so I think the NBA introduced this because you've got players over there like Giannis, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, who missed out on being in the first team last year because those two were in front of him.
That's my point, is that all those guys, see, Giannis is like a 3-4, the 2 bigs can play together. I think you have to have more flexibility about where people can be picked. But to say we're positionless and leave it open to be able to have 5-point guards, I don't think it's right. And what will end up happening is everyone will say your argument and go, and we bring it back to the NBL and everyone will go, oh, no, that'll never happen. We'll have 5 guards. But as soon as we do, watch everyone jump up and down and go, oh, this is rubbish. We don't have a big man in there because we've got 5 guards. They've got all usage. That's what's going to happen.
I look forward to seeing it happen.
Yeah, and you'll be the one arguing it. You watch.
There have been some big margins in the NBA. Philly beating the Lakers by 44 points is just one of them. I thought you might like this. Well, why is it? What is happening?
Well, first of all, I like Philly now. Now that Harden's gone, I like him. Nick Nurse has done a terrific job. Watching Embiid and Maxey evolve as players and the role players, but the style that Nick Nurse has been able to implement, and just taking it to the Lakers. I mean, who do the Lakers think they're going to have a chance to win a championship? Are they kidding themselves? Seriously. 40-14
in the final quarter, nail in the coffin there.
Embarrassing.
Bron had 18 points, 5 assists and no rebounds. That's the first time he hasn't had a board in 13 years. That's crazy to me.
It is crazy.
5.
He realizes the clock's on his back. Tough floater going to his left. Kispert. Oh! Corey Kispert!
We are loving the Boost Mobile Hoops Highlights Hammer, and that is no exception.
That is some serious Steph Curry range.
Shane Hill territory back in the heyday?
Yeah, once or twice.
4.
Willard with the miss underneath as the 2 stars continue to struggle. Oh, KP! Ashes to ashes. Dust to dust.
Kristaps Porzingis, he is on fire this season.
Rewarded for running the lane, he just tucks it in.
3.
Jackson keeps it alive and then trying to throw it off to Smith, but a ricochet to Van Fleet. And he'll throw the lob to Green. Elevating and dunking Jalen Green rose above Holiday's back.
Fred Van Vliet knows how to find a teammate.
That is a dime, and Green just finishing it.
2.
Yeah, they went into a zone.
Cunning, Toppin.
Whoa!
Sit down.
Take that.
Obi Toppin, I swear he has stock in highlight reels, Hammer.
He's been in top 5 before, and I reckon he will again.
No doubt.
1.
Again, it's a good one. Back to Booker. Booker on the drive. Booker puts up the three. Oh, he puts it in with 1.7 remaining. Devin Booker with the clutch three.
Devin Booker is all money, Jojo.
That's why they're paying the big bucks. Those are your Boost Mobile Hoops highlights for this week. Yes, Matt Logue at the desk, as he is every week for the Logue Down. Matty, there are fresh reports that Dwight Howard is exploring his options in the NBL.
Yeah.
Who can afford this man?
Well, 37, NBA champion. He's got a bit of baggage as well. You know, that is a fact, you know, along the line in his career. Playing in Taiwan at the moment. And, yeah, you're right. Like, the NBL have pumped this up a bit, that he's exploring NBL options. And it's come from a legitimate source, I can say. One of my Lithuanian mates, a very good journalist. But I've reached out to a number of people in the league, and my understanding is Adelaide potentially with a spot. They need, wanted a big, but they've moved on. They're not looking for another player. And then the New Zealand Breakers, obviously Cheatham and McDowell White, and we've reached out to the Breakers, and the Breakers have said Howard's not one of the names, but they are confirmed that they are looking for someone, definitely, and probably a big. So. It's interesting. It begs the question with Dwight Howard. Like, it's great that he wants to look at the NBL.
It would be incredible to have him in the NBL.
Like, from a publicity, he loves Australia too.
Why are you rolling your eyes?
I know you're rolling your eyes, but no, is it worth the risk?
It's all fluff, right? Who can afford him?
He
makes millions of dollars. This is all fluff. We're talking about something to pump up the league that's not even real. Is it?
I can't see it happening.
No, well, it's real that he's interested, but
yeah, he's interested at the price that we can't afford.
As I'm reporting, though, it's like God. There's no one interested.
Let's move on, mate. It's all fluff. Come on.
The NBL is back. We have a big doubleheader on Friday night. Kicking things off, Cairns and Brisbane. D, you're going to be up there for that game. What are you predicting?
Well, I'm predicting some, oh, wow. Look, we know what's really underneath all of this. It's the Aaron Baines situation, Aaron Ford, lap man, all that type of stuff. That's a volatile place to play as it is, Hammer. And with that simmering underneath, I'm expecting something to go off, because I know if you were Aaron Baines, how you would respond in a similar situation. You'd be looking to get some back.
I'm going to get 40, no doubt about that, but I don't think Aaron Baines is going to do that. Cairns, I think this is going to be exciting for Cairns. It's their first game with a full team. They've got a really exciting roster. I think they've only shown glimpses of what their potential is. I think with going overseas and playing in the NBA games, really derailed them for a long period of time. This break has come at a good time for them, healthy bodies. I think they're going to win this game, and I think they're going to win it easily.
Well, Shane, remember a few weeks ago, they beat Sydney with less than a full team pretty easily. So I think it's going to be a real challenge for Brisbane. Brisbane gets Shannon Scott back. He's going to have to provide some offensive punch, and he's going to have to provide some poise down the stretch at critical points during the game, because it's going to be a hostile environment. We know what Friday nights look like in Cairns. There'll be a lot of beverages flowing. People are off work and ready to go to see the Taipans win.
All right, let's switch our focus to the NBA. The in-season tournament, guys, is well underway. What have you made of the format? Because there's been mixed reviews so far.
Joe, I have no idea who's on top. I have no idea who's qualifying. All I know is that in a couple of weeks, or whenever it is, there's going to be a mini congregation in Vegas. And, Joe, we know we lose you for most of the year because you go over there to Vegas for the Summer League. You know what that looks like. I know what they want. They want a mini All-Star weekend in Vegas. That's all this is about, and it's a great plan. I'm all for it. I wish I could go, but I don't care about these games. I like the uniforms. I like the courts, Hammer. I know you hate the courts. That's not your thing. But Joe, it's a guise for something else. And also, Joe, I think it's a precursor to conditioning people to get used to pro basketball in Vegas.
The Southeast Melbourne Phoenix CEO Tommy Greer joins us now. Tommy, thank you so much for the time. Always great to have you on the basketball show.
Well, Tommy, first of all, congratulations on the team you've been able to put together. New coach, Mike Kelly, so it's first year, obviously, of another plan for you guys. I I reckon you've probably got 4 of the best players, the combination of players with your 2 guards, your import Creek, and then some of the guys that you brought off the bench. Is this where you thought you would be, or did you think you would be further along at this stage?
Look, to be honest, I'm not as surprised as maybe some other people are. You know, whenever you bring in we've brought in an entire new coaching staff. You know, there's a completely new system. We brought in 7 new players. That really was a sort of pretty enormous restructure and rebuild on the performance side of the business this year. So to be with sort of factoring all of that in, to be going into the break sort of 6-6, having shown sort of, I guess, the best of what we can be and at times the worst of what we can be, probably isn't that surprising.
How have you seen the balance between your 4 superstars? All 4 can really score the ball, which is, from a coaching point of view and a club and a fan's point of view, that's exactly what you want. You know you can put points on the board. How have you seen their balance and who's had to sacrifice? And when it gets down to the wire and you need a bucket, who's that man going to be? Do you think the guys know that at this point?
Look, I think the balance has gone really well. When you look at the numbers and you look at the sort of production out of those 4 guys, I think that, the balance of sort of opportunity, the balance of usage, the balance of what they've been able to produce statistically, I think has all slotted in really well. In terms of sort of closing out the game and sort of finishing off their games, we really do have those 4 options. And I know it is often talked about that you need that sort of clear closer. But on our roster, we have 4 weapons who can come at you when, one thing gets closed off. Someone else has the ability to step up and make that play.
Yes, let's get into Supercoach NBL. Tom Hirsch is joining us from Melbourne. Tom, what are your tips this week? Give them to us.
Well, this week we've got 4 teams on the double. Adelaide, Brisbane, Cairns still on a double, and they're going to be for a number of weeks ahead. And New Zealand as well. It's their last week on a double for a while. So still kind of focusing on probably predominantly Cairns and New Zealand players just based on the schedule. I think most people would have Anthony Lamb from New Zealand and Parker Jackson-Cartwright by now. If you don't have Patrick Miller from Cairns, though, he's had a round to come back and get back into the swing of things and look pretty strong. I'd be bringing him in this week if you don't have him. And he's one you could even consider as a captain option this week. Someone else I might give a look, though, from Brisbane is Shannon Scott, who's back from a long injury layoff up there in Brisbane. We know what a difference maker he's been when he's been healthy on the floor. His last 3 games, he averaged over 48 Supercoach points, which is elite. And whilst he might ramp up a little slowly, I think he's someone who could probably make a bit of a run now for the next few weeks and be a really good one to consider in your backcourt. And the other one that I'm looking at is Will Magnay from Tasmania. They don't have the double this week, but they have a couple coming up in future weeks. But he looked really strong, especially those last 2 games before the FIBA break. And he's at a pretty good price point right now, so some good value there. Maybe you bring him in as your backup center this week, but he's someone who could probably have some elite production going forward for the next little while.
All right, Tommy, will you wipe me off the floor last week so you can give me the tips now? I need a smoky. I need help, mate. Where do I look?
Well, I would be looking at the Sydney Kings, though. They don't have a double this week, but they do have next week, and there's some good value there. And one player I'm considering bringing in is DJ Hogue. We know he's obviously had a bit of a slower start coming off their injury, but he's looked really strong the last few weeks, and I think he's another one who's poised to probably start getting back to that elite level production we are used to. And if you bring him in this week, you have him for the double next week, that could be a nice point of difference for you, Hammer.
That is the basketball show, all thanks to Code Sports, Boost Mobile and the Throwback Store. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.
This is a co-production by News Corp Australia and Closer Sport.